Joining the Profitable DJ partnership has not only transformed my business, but it is literally changing my life.
Together, it's been a really, really exciting community to be a part of, and I would highly recommend.
My friend Ben Herman and I had the same goal. We want to help as many DJs as we can. Ben is truly a DJ's coach.
This is my first time, and I gotta say, from day one, night one, my mind has just been expanding like crazy.
The confidence that I have in my sales, my marketing, my fulfillment has never ever been this high, and it is all to do with Ben and Profitable DJ.
Just took his 3-day course of Profitable DJ, and I gotta tell you guys, this course that I took really blew my mind.
Ben was a pro. Can't recommend these guys enough. He's really straightforward, direct, professional, and funny.
One of the smartest people in the mobile DJ space, hands down.
He is Ben Herman.
So I was only 12 years old, inside a double wide trailer when I was fed up. And I threw my DJ equipment against the wall, and I was like, screw this DJ thing. As a tear ran down my face, even I was surprised, because I had such a hard shell already at that age with all the pain and suffering that I'd gone through, from my parents divorcing at 4 years old, to the failing grades in class, to my dad reminding me that I was worthless, and that wasn't going to amount to anything in this world. Let me rewind a little bit. Let me give you a reason of why I actually give you some context of why I threw my DJ gear against the wall in the first place. About a couple months prior to that day, I set out on this dream to pursue to become a DJ. And this is pre-YouTube days, pre-DJ course days. A lot of us had to study DJs from afar, right? You guys probably remember that as well. And I went on a blog, and this is like internet version 1, right? I think it wasn't even Google, it was like Yahoo or something. And looked up how to beat match, how to beat mix. And I learned about counting music, and I learned about dropping on the 1. We all know about that, right? So here I was. I had a boombox with a tape deck on the bottom, a CD player up top, running into a Radio Shack mixer that then ran to a Sony Discman on the other side. We bootstrapped it in the beginning, right? And I'm telling you guys, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the beats would start trailing on time, and all ones start trailing off, and it sounded just like a train wreck, like 2 shoes inside of a dryer just tumbling around. They say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results, right? I didn't just do this 10 times. I didn't just do this 50 times. I didn't even do it 100 times. I did this thousands of times, week on and week on, just trying to get it perfectly on the 1. Can you imagine my frustration? So, I walked away from DJing. And it was about 6 months. However, I couldn't give up the passion of music. I fell in love with music because it was my therapy. It was my way to escape my harsh reality that I was going through at that point in time in my childhood. I listened to a lot of hip hop music, and what the rappers were talking about in the songs I could relate to. And it was super inspiring because they talked about their hardship, their challenges, and the environments that they were in, and how they were able to grow up and out of it. And I was hoping to do the same for myself. So I ended up still visiting the record shops. This is again right around 1999, 2000, so CD era, okay? But I was really into turntablism. I looked up to the greats, and I really just frequented record shops. There's a local record shop that had the 12-inch vinyls there, and I go in there and just kind of dig through records day in and day out. But every Friday afternoon, there's this DJ behind the counter who had 2 1200 Technique 1200s, along with a Vestax 06 Pro mixer, that skinny tiny mixer, the 2 battle. I don't know if you guys know about that one. Yes, sir. Right? And of course, I had to just digging through the records, but in the corner of my eye, I was studying the DJ from afar, and he happened to notice that I was really curious about what he was doing. So he invited me over and introduced himself, and we actually became really great friends. And in my book, to this day, he became my first DJ mentor. And when I confided in him of all the different things that I was running into, especially that one beat matching debacle, right? And I threw my equipment against the wall. He laughed and he's like, you know what, Ben, you weren't the issue. It was the equipment, the tools that you were using, and the knowledge about those tools that were the issue. Which is a really valuable lesson for me. Because for the first time, I felt like I wasn't the problem. It was actually the tools. And as long as I learned enough information about what to do and have the right tools in hand, I could achieve anything in this world. And I'm so glad that I didn't actually give up on my dream of becoming a DJ. So I gave it another shot, and I was able to, it took me about 2 years to learn how to DJ, actually, by the way. But I was able to go from house parties to school functions. I even DJ my own prom, to bars, nightclubs, concerts, to the radio, to touring the West Coast, to working with celebrity artists, to then growing a successful multi-op that now occupies Northern and Southern California. And so fast forward to today, well, first and foremost, I should actually show you a real proof here that I'm not making up this story. This was me right here in the record shop. And you see, there's literally the Maxell tapes, the cassette tapes for sale in the background there. All right? But fast forward to today, this is my company now. We occupy a 3,500 square foot building with full DJ studio, full video studio, full warehouse, all the goods, right? We have an incredible team that we train from the ground up. Literally, we hire them with absolutely no experience, and we train them from the ground up. Because I know what it feels like to not have the answers. So I want to be a person that's a hope dealer instead of a dream crusher. And then on the right side, you'll notice that everybody who passes our training curriculum receives one of these blue plaques. Our company, Active Productions, our main brand colors is blue, white, and black. So we have a 3 record plaque tier of level 1 DJs, level 2 DJs, and level 3. More experience, of course, the higher you get the plaque. Starts off at the blue, goes to the white, and then ends at the black, just like a black belt in karate. All right? And then we also have fun competitions like that wrestling belt on the bottom there as well, right? The one thing you'll notice, though, is that I'm in none of these photos except for the show floor backdrop right there. I don't know if you can see right there in the center. There's a picture of me on the turntables. And the reason why is because I actually happen to reside here in Las Vegas now. My company still runs in California, fully on autopilot, with a full leadership team in place, event staff in place. And I still own the business, but I'm no longer involved with the day-to-day. And I don't say this to brag or to showboat, but to really show what's possible in our industry. Because a lot of us tend to think that, I literally heard this as well, that a lot of us think that you can't actually create a real career out of this dream of ours. And I'm here to prove otherwise. All right? So, and then on top of that, so I've been able to be empowered to leave my company, the day-to-day operations, so that way I could actually now gain my time freedom and financial freedom back to now go on to my next mission, which is to impact or revolutionize the entire DJ industry. And we do this by the start of mentoring DJs all over the world. And it's been incredible because, you know, I was able to pull myself up, right? And by the way, I don't believe in a self-made person. I feel like there's plenty of people along the way, just like my initial mentor, but I had plenty of mentors along my career that were able to empower me to get to where I'm at today. So I'm not here to say that I'm self-made. I had a lot of help along the way, right? But I'm now on the mission to empower other DJs to follow suit and change this industry for the better, okay? And I can't make up these stories, so I'm just gonna play a video of one of our awesome clients, Justin Farella, based out of Michigan, Detroit.
What is going on, everyone? Justin Farella here from Farella Events. I just needed to record a quick video to really just give a shout out to Ben and ProfitableDJ for everything that he's done and the brand has done for my business. So right now, I'm in my office, guys. It's so unreal to me to where I am at today from where I was at just 8 months ago. So I signed up in January. In just 8 months, I went from working out of my house to having my own office and really just being at an unbelievable level of income and confidence. The confidence that I have in my sales, my marketing, my fulfillment has never ever been this high, and it is all to do with Ben and Profitable DJ. So thank you so much, Ben. I gotta take you for an office tour real quick. It's a little messy because we've been training today, so we got all this stuff out, but yeah, for anyone who is considering joining the program, just do it. Just do it and implement what is being taught inside Profitable DJ, and I promise you, you will be so thankful in a few months from now. So once again, thank you so much, Ben. Couldn't have done this without you. Bye.
So that's Justin right here out of Detroit, Michigan, and he mentioned that, looking to Profitable DJ, I'm not here to pitch you anything. I'm here to just truly provide value for you today, so don't worry about that, okay? But we have a ton of other 5-star reviews and video testimonies just like Justin's story, which has just been such an incredible, fulfilling experience for me because I'm able to actually help generate a huge impact in a person's life. And then we also get to do these fun events as well, where we get to have, to give these DJs kind of an intro to a whole different experience that we're not used to in our industry. So that's where I'm at. What I'm here to say is that I'm living proof that if you live life intentionally, you do the work that's required, not what you feel like doing, but the work that's required, you'll be pleasantly surprised at what life has to offer for you. So let's talk about the main topic that we're all here for today, which is how to handle DJ sales objections. There's mainly 3 objections, like the main common objections. One is, I don't have enough money. How many of us have heard of that? I don't have the money, right? The next one is, I need a little more time to think about it. I need to talk to someone. I need to talk to my partner, my parents, or the board, or whatever else, right? So it's a time delay. And then the third one is something that most people won't tell you to your face, but they're thinking and wondering, is my event safe with you? Okay, so let's talk about those. So there's really 3 main secrets that I have found when it comes to overcoming these objections. And what I'd like to do right now is talk about the first one, which is the sales process happens well before the consultation. A lot of us think that when we pick up the phone, when we turn on that Zoom, or we meet that client in person, or that prospect in person, that's where the sales process begins. And I'm here to tell you, it's not. It happens well before that. And let me share with you an experience of how I met my wife, okay? So the way that I met my wife is I was invited to a mutual friend's barbecue. And I asked my friend, hey, who's that cute girl over there? She's like, oh, that's Melissa. So I went straight up to her and I was like, hey Melissa, my name is Ben, nice to meet you. Will you marry me? What do you think she said? Anybody know? She said hell yes? Hell no. Hell no? I'll take a little offense to that. I think I'm pretty good. I wouldn't know because I actually made up that story, okay? Because could you imagine what she would actually probably say? Probably a hell no, right? Because she's creeped out and so forth. But why is it that so many of us do the same when it comes to our prospects and our leads? The second that they land on that website and they fill out that inquiry form, we're hounding them for, hey, will you book us? Will you book us? Will you book us? Hey, we're running a discount. Hey, will you book us? Hey, we've got uplighting. We've got vertical truss. Hey, we've got photo booths, right? We're just hounding them. What I encourage you to do instead, and again, this is like something that I have found on a really personal level, and I'm gonna actually share with you the real story behind how I met my wife. The way that I met my wife, I didn't make the first part up. I did actually meet her at a mutual friend's barbecue. I did ask my friend, hey, who's that cute girl? She did tell me her name was Melissa, and I did approach her, and I did have a chat with her, and then I did what any courageous man would do, is I added her on social media, and I slid into her DMs. And then I asked her, or tried to ask her, on the first date, which at first I was like, hey, would you like to go to dinner sometime? And just like most of our prospects, they let us off easy, right? They don't tell us straight a no, but I'm really busy right now, blah, blah, blah. Excuses to deflect. But I read the signs and I knew that she wasn't interested, and she denied me. So then I waited a few more months, and I was like, hey, what about, well, I thought to myself, well, if dinner's not gonna work, maybe I'll hone it back a little bit and ask her to lunch instead. So it's like, hey, would you like to go to lunch with me sometime? And again, she deflected. Oh, you know, I'm really busy at this time, blah, blah, blah. Maybe some other time. So I waited a few more months. And I was like, okay, dinner didn't work, the lunch didn't work, maybe coffee? So I hit her up again. I was like, hey, would you like to go out to coffee sometime? And as you can guess, once again, she denied me, right? And we went off to living our own lives, right? And actually 4 years had passed. At this point in time, I'd actually grown my company to a fairly large level. In addition to that, I did a lot of self-development because all of us DJ entrepreneurs, the best self-development program is our businesses, right? Because our businesses could die on us or it could succeed on us. It really depends on the owner. It really depends on the leadership, right? And so I worked on myself. And here's another interesting part. I came across this really cool concept, which is in dating, some of you that may be single still, right? In dating, and even if you're not actually, you'll probably relate to this. We tend to have all these check boxes, this list of criteria that we want this person that we might be interested in the near future. We want them to hit certain check boxes. They need to be a certain height, they need to be funny, they need to be smart, they need to have a certain income, a certain career, a certain look, right? Versus actually asking ourselves, how can we become the best person for someone? And working on ourselves first before we ever try to expect something else from another person. And I did that. I literally went on a journey for an entire year, stayed celibate, worked on myself, and ran into her again. December 20th, 2013. It was it was a holiday party, so I took out my staff to a nice dinner. We had drinks and dancing afterwards at a local bar, and we're all nicely suited up. Took my staff out to a dinner, and there she was when I walked into that bar. And it was literally like a movie. I could see her, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if she'll try this time. So I went up to her again, offered her a shot, and she denied me again, by the way. But what happened is she did give me a chance on a conversation. And we ended up actually chatting till 4 o'clock in the morning that day. The bar actually happened to be in a hotel, so we ended up sitting out in the lobby by the chairs, past the bar closing time, and we just chatted. And it wasn't just like a normal conversation. We're actually very transparent. There's so many things that had hurt us in the past, and we had talked about some of the things that we were actually pretty embarrassed about. We were vulnerable. And because of that, we were able to connect really fast. And on paper, there's a lot of things that at that point in time that she was going through. That on paper, she was not the ideal candidate. But I'd done all the work, and I didn't care who it was. What I told myself is, the next girl, I'm gonna serve her. That's my sole job. I'm gonna choose and I'm gonna serve her. And that's all I did. I wasn't trying to pursue her beyond a friendship. It was literally, hey, she's in a tough spot in life. Let me just serve her. Let me just be there for her. The crazy part is 2 months after we started dating, well, first of all, yeah, we turned a stranger into a friend. Yeah, there's that slide. But what ended up happening is she ended up proposing to me. It's crazy what can happen when you focus on others over yourself. It's crazy what can happen when you obsess over solving other people's problems over your own. Because I understand, most of us, we tend to approach sales by, we need to cover payroll, we need to cover this bill. And that's why we're selling. It's because we need the money to be able to survive. Versus serving that client, serving that prospect. Even if it means telling them, we're not a good fit. Actually, let me go ahead and refer you to one of our competitors who I know will be a better fit for you. Right? So this is my family now. As a matter of fact, my family's here, right? There they are right there, actually here in the corner. Give it up for my family. And as you can see, we've been able to travel all over the world. And again, I have to thank my business. Like, one thing that I just say over and over again is business and entrepreneurship is the best self-development program. I've become a better husband, I've become a better father, a better friend, and a better employer because of my business. But you get to choose that. It's not up to them, it's about up to you on working on yourself and you wanting more for your business, for your life, for your team, for your family and your friends, right? So, sales is about positioning. Again, it's not about pushing yourself onto them, it's more about pulling them towards you. It's not about trying to sell and trying to promote your services to them, it's about attracting them to you, right? How do we do that? Well, it comes down to nurturing. You need to nurture your prospects. The way that you do that is by educating them. How do you do that? So what you want to do is you want to put out something, a piece of education to your prospects. Let's say they're planning their wedding, they're planning their private event, right? What is a big question that they have or multiple questions that they might have that you can answer for them? For instance, a freshly engaged couple, if they've never been married before, they've never planned a wedding before. Can you put together a wedding guide, like a wedding planning guide, or a wedding checklist of all the different things, all the different vendors that they should talk to? Could you provide advice of what vendors to reach out to and how to reach out to them, what questions to ask? Could you give them advice about how to set up the floor plan for the wedding so that way you don't end up all the way across the reception and super far away from the dance floor? How many of us hate that, right? We all do. So it's about educating them. And all you do, what we call this in the marketing world, is a lead magnet. Do you hear what I just said? Magnet. What does a magnet do? It attracts people to you. It magnetizes to the magnet, right? So you put a free piece of content out there that is of service to them, not to you. In exchange, you just ask for a name and an email address. And once they're there, you don't just go in for the kill and try to sell them. You continue to provide education for them, giving them tips and tricks on how to plan their event, giving personal know-hows or personal stories that you've experienced and how you were able to save a couple from making a major mistake at their wedding or a client at their event. What's another way? Well, you need to prove yourself up front. How many of us are into thinking about buying something, like let's say this DJ booth right here, or this controller right here, or maybe even this MacBook right here? How many of us have actually studied and looked up gear reviews, the 5-star reviews down below on the product page? We research the product page as well. Well, our clients are doing the same thing. Our prospects are doing the same thing. They want to know that their money is safe with you. Everybody's afraid of making a mistake. So why not educate people to the point where you can make it so clear to them that you're the only choice and that it's far from making a mistake. So how do you prove yourself up front to them? Well, I would say one of the most powerful ways is social proof, okay? Is showcasing 5-star reviews. By the way, you should be capturing 5-star reviews from your clients. Capture video testimonials and showcase those on your website as well. Showcase those on your social media. If you go to our entertainment page or even ProfitableDJ's page, right, you'll see a ton of testimonials as reels, right, vertical reels. You go to our website, on the bottom of every single web page, there's hundreds of 5-star reviews that people have to scroll through. And we understand most people aren't going to take the time to read every single one of those 5-star reviews. We're just making a point that, do you see how validated we are, right? And that's exactly what we want to create. The feeling inside of our prospects is, oh my gosh, look at how validated these people are. Or they're just scrolling through our website, 5-star reviews, okay? And then you want to invite them to connect with you. For instance, a lot of us do wedding expos or bridal fairs, right? If you're one of our clients at ProfitFlo, we teach this thing called the P4X method, which is putting on your own event promotion that gets you paid 3 ways up front before you even start attracting bookings. A lot of us have to pay for marketing. We have figured out a way to get paid 3 ways up front to advertise and market ourselves before the bookings start rolling in, right? And then, of course, the consultation. Do you see now why I mentioned that the sale happens well before the consultation? You want to educate, You want to prove yourself up front to them, and then you want to invite them to connect with you. And once you've connected with them, then you can focus on the close, which I call the close. It's not really selling, it's the close. It's taking the order at that point, okay? All right, so what's the takeaway from this section right here is become the only choice for your ideal prospects. Do so much, obsess so much about solving their problems and educating them on how you can solve their problems, and validate yourself by showing off the 5-star reviews, video testimonials, and even the knowledge that you have to share with them that could literally save them from headaches. Even if they decide to not book you as their entertainment for their event, that you've still helped them in some sort of way to avoid a massive mistake at their events. All right, let's talk about secret number 2, which is what your rates say about you. Love to find out right now. This car right here. Do you think it's expensive or do you think it's cheap? Cheap? Anybody else? Someone says expensive? What I would say is it depends. Price is subjective. It depends. To some of us, this is a cheap car. To some of us, this would be a really expensive car. So it's not a trick question, but what do you think about this car right here? Is it cheap or is it expensive? Expensive. I hope you understood. I gave you the answer to the last one, which is it depends. To some people, this car is cheap. To a lot of us, this car is expensive. Right? Now, let me ask you this, though. If I were to say, this is my Ferrari, and I'm going to sell this to you for $500, what's the first question that comes to your mind? What's wrong with it? Isn't that crazy? We all have the unanimous answer. What's wrong with it? So just be very careful about being an affordable DJ and having discounted pricing, because some of your prospects may be thinking the same. Okay? The other thing also that you have to understand with Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and so forth, there are premium buyers. They don't care about the price. They care about getting the best. That's all they care about. Okay? So just be aware, just because we're not a premium buyer, we may have budgets that we're sticking to, does not mean that people don't exist out there in the world that go after only the best. They don't care what cost it is, what price it costs them. Okay? All right, let me move on. There's an experiment run, a survey, where they put 3 bottles of wine in front of people, okay? And each bottle of wine had the original label ripped off and replaced with another label. One of the bottles had a label that said cheap on it. The next one said average. And then the third said expensive. Out of these 3 bottles, which one do you think majority of the people said tasted the best? What's that? Expensive, number 3? Yeah? They did, you're right. And here what was so interesting about this experiment is every single one of these bottles of wine were the exact same, had the exact same contents in them. Which says something else about pricing, right? That sometimes you're actually providing value to your prospects and your clients by raising your prices. And the reason why is because, here's a really standard example. If we were to go to McDonald's as a group together, right? We might spend under $10 on a meal, we'd scarf it down, we wouldn't think much more of it, right? But then let's say we'd all go to a really nice 5-star Michelin restaurant that was $200 a plate. And here's what else is unique. McDonald's will serve you more food for less of the price, but a lot of times these fancy restaurants, they barely give you any food. And what usually happens if you were to have a $200 plate in front of you? You savor that meal, right? Every bite is like $10. Here's $10 more going into my mouth right now, right? You get dressed up to go to these restaurants. You don't get dressed up in a suit to go to McDonald's. You don't think about it because you don't value it. So people who pay attention, but people who pay more pay even more attention. Okay? And the last one is, can I get a volunteer real quick? Anybody want to volunteer? All right, lady over here. I'm gonna throw you this microphone here. Ready? You want to stand up? That's a bad throw. That was my bad. Go ahead and hold it up. All right, perfect. So I've got a question for you. Oh, you can hold it up to your mouth. Yeah. Okay. I've got a question for you. If for every dollar that you pay me, I were to guarantee and pay you $10, how many of your dollars would you give me? Let me say that again. If for every dollar you pay me, I guarantee to pay you $10, how many dollars would you give me? All of them? Okay. What about the second scenario? If for every $100 you pay me, I guarantee to pay you $1,000. All? Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I hope you see where I'm going with this, but let's try this last one right here. What about this one right here? For every $1,000 you pay me, I guarantee to pay you $10,000. How many dollars of yours would you give me? All. All? Do you mind holding the microphone a little closer to you? Sorry. And out of these three scenarios, which one would you choose first?
Yeah.
I heard three, but what would you say?
All the same.
Well, if you could only choose one option, which one would you choose?
3.
3? Why? It's more expensive.
Well, you get more in return.
You get more in return? Well, actually, the interesting part is you get the same in return, you just get it faster, right? Every single one of these is a 10x multiple, right? So 1, you get $10 back, so you get 10 times the money back. At the very bottom, for 1,000, you get $10,000 back, you get 10 times the money back. So every single one of these equations are exact same, but you still chose the most expensive option. And the reason why is because as long as value exceeds price, price doesn't matter. Okay? You might throw me that microphone back?
You might not make it.
All right, here we go. Woo! All right.
I'll take them all.
Can we give it up for one, please? And it's kind of crazy, right? Like I pre-designed these slides. It's like I could guess which one the other person would choose. Okay? So what's the lesson here? Make sure that your rates attract the right clients. Just be aware of that. I'm not telling you to raise your prices, but just make sure that whatever clients that you have, if you're unsatisfied with your clients, make sure that your prices reflect the clients that you ideally like to attract. Okay? All right, let me check what the next slide is here. Oh yeah, we've got a bonus for you. This is a bonus secret, which is you don't have to do it all. Okay? I'll give you an example. A lot of us tend to be CEOs. Who's a CEO here? Right? You know what CEO really stands for in the beginning? Chief Everything Officer. We do everything. We're the marketing director, we're the head of sales, we're the head of fulfillment, we're the technician, right? We're everything. And I'm here to give you permission that you don't have to do it all. And as a matter of fact, as long as you continue to do it all, you're actually holding yourself, your team back, and of course our business is to serve our families, you're actually affecting your families as well. Okay? So let me share a story about my $1,700 coffee machine. Who thinks that $1,700 for a coffee machine is expensive? Who thinks it's cheap? Okay, some people. See, like I said, price is subjective. To some of you, it's expensive. To some of you, it's not. Let me show you an example of why this coffee machine was one of the best investments for my family and I. Okay? So I'm an avid coffee drinker. And I hate to admit, I'm a Starbucks person. And I would go to Starbucks at least twice a day. I always love 2 coffees a day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, right? And then my wife would drink another coffee a day. Sometimes she also drinks 2 a day. So let's break this equation down. And I'm telling you, when I say 365 days, I truly drink a cup of coffee every single day. So 365 days in a year times $5, which you and I both understand that Starbucks charges more than that. And then you also have to tip your barista, right? But let's just call it $5 for an average order, right? Ends up being $1,825. Well, I just mentioned my coffee maker was only $1,700. So if anything, I'm already getting a return on investment the first year. But here's what's crazy. As I mentioned, there's multiple coffee drinkers in our house. It's not just myself, it's my wife as well. So really, we're talking about 1825 times 3 beverages a day. 1 in the morning and afternoon for me, 1 for my wife. Sometimes she actually has a second one as well, so that's really 4. Ends up being $5,475. So if my coffee maker was $1,700, I actually got a return on investment of 3 times, 3x in the first year. I could buy 3 of those in the first year for all my Starbucks orders. But there's actually a more expensive price that I would be paying by continuing to go to Starbucks, which is the time that I spend. We don't think about our time. You understand the most valuable resource and non-renewable resource in our lives is time. We all only get the same 24 hours. Every single second and minute that passes by, you don't get to reclaim. If you lose money, you can make more money, right? So, my office was located about 20 to 25 minutes from the closest Starbucks. So that's already pretty much, let's call it an hour both ways. And remember, I made 2 coffee runs, that's 2 hours. And that's if Starbucks wasn't busy in the drive-thru. Sometimes I'd get stuck in the drive-thru for another 15 minutes to 30 minutes. So now we're talking about 2 to 2.5 hours a day times 365. That's over 700, 800 hours in a year that I'm spending just to get my beverage. Could you imagine what you could do with that time if you worked on your business? If you went to the gym a little more often? If you spent time connecting with the people that you love a little more? 800 hours is a lot of hours, right? So that coffee maker, because it sits in my kitchen now, right? Actually, because I fired myself from my company back in 2022, I have a home office. So I literally go from my home office to my kitchen, I push the buttons, and boom, it spits out a coffee. One thing I should show you real quick is if you see there, it literally has my profile saved on that little touchscreen there, and I like cappuccino, so it literally makes the exact beverage that I want every single day. As a matter of fact, that's what I came here with today instead of going to Starbucks. So save time, okay? So just be aware of that. And what our job here is we want to stop doing the $20 an hour or less than $20 an hour tasks and fire ourselves from that, delegate it to someone else, automate it if you need to, software or technology, and focus on replacing it with $2,000 an hour tasks as a CEO and leaders of your companies, okay? I understand, that seems like a lot. Well, hear me out. So, if you're answering emails of your clients, would you say that someone else could answer those emails? Would you say when it comes to following up with leads or even following up with clients on their past due payments or their monthly check-ins leading up to their event of completing their planning forms and providing the song requests and announcement scripts and or announcement requests and so forth, right? All that can be automated with software, right? The customer service exchange can actually happen with an assistant, a secretary and office assistant, which you can pay $20 an hour. And by doing that, think about all the time that you can claim back. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and now sit in a recliner, kick your feet up, and just relax now that you're paying someone $20 an hour. Your job is now to out-earn the money that you're paying someone else, right? So for every hour that you reclaim back and you're paying someone else $20 an hour, can you turn that into $50 or $100 an hour? Right? Because now it would be a no-brain investment. You spend 20, you make 100, you keep 80, right, for your business. That's a great investment. And as you go higher and higher and up the food chain, you get to a point, like I'm no longer even really the CEO of my companies, right? I actually empower CEOs to lead my companies now. And that's what I'm talking about, that it really comes down to $2,000, and really I'm focusing more on $5,000 to $10,000 an hour tasks now, right? So ask yourself, what are the things that you're doing in your business that you can replace yourself with, okay? One of the best hires that I would say is definitely a DJ assistant, but really a secretary or an admin, an office assistant. Because a lot of us, we still need to be head DJs, right? We're the best DJs in our companies. So do the thing that you do well and hire out the rest, delegate the rest to other people. Because you really don't like doing the admin anyways, right? The bookkeeping and so forth. So trade the lower level tasks, lower per hour level tasks for higher level in hour tasks, okay? All right. So this right here is the final lesson on the bonus tip, which is stop order taking. A lot of us think that the consultation is really sales, but it's not, right? If you've done a proper job at educating the prospect up front about your company, they already know pretty much that they're wanting to go with you. You're simply just taking an order. You're providing the menu of items that you provide from your DJ services, your photo booth services, your uplighting, your whatevers, right? Enhancements, sparklers, and dancing on the clouds, right? And you're simply just providing them the information with the pricing to take their order, okay? So the first thing I would do in sales is delegate the order taking to an office assistant or secretary. You can do this with a script where they say the exact words that you would say, okay? And training, where you train them on vocal fluctuation, on pausing, on pacing, and so forth. If you're recording your phone calls, take your best consultations and provide that as part of training to your staff so they can start emulating you, which is essentially cloning yourself. Us multi-ops are already doing that when it comes to our event staff. So do it for your admin staff as well, okay? Now understand, I don't have enough time, so I've got like 15 more minutes left. I don't have enough time to get really deep on the weeds on this. So what I'd like to do is give you a favor here and give you a gift, okay? Oh, really, I should talk about the consultation real quick. But it's about choreographing an intentional process, okay? It's also about tone fluctuation, like I mentioned, and following a script, right? Also, it's about listening. Sales is more about listening than speaking, because how can you sell something if you don't actually know the problem that you're trying to solve? You need to understand what problems your prospects have before you can ever offer any of your solutions, okay? And then also, prescribe a solution. Value stack, so stack the value, which comes down to, instead of just saying, yeah, I've got this package right here, covers a ceremony and reception and some lighting, blah, 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 talk about it as an itemized list. A lot of us don't talk about setup and breakdown. A lot of us who actually drive and travel to our clients for free up to a certain mileage range, that's still real value. That's your time, that's your gas, or you're charging if you drive electric, right? And your staff's time as well. Talk about that. Put it in the value stack of saying, you get all these DJ services, but also on top of that, we'll drive for free 50 miles round trip, right? In addition to that, there's a planning meeting that's included for an hour, 2 hours, however long you need. Customer support. You can email us and call us anytime leading up to your event if you have any questions about your stuff, because that's, again, real value to your customers. And then lastly, have childlike curiosity, which means as your prospects address certain objections, have childlike curiosity. You know how like our children go, but why, Dad? But why? Why is that? How come, right? Have childlike curiosity and ask further. Peel back that onion and find out what's the real reasoning of what's holding them back from actually moving forward with you. And as long as you can address that, hopefully you'll be able to save that sale. Okay? So as I mentioned, I don't have enough time to go through all this, but I'd like to actually hook you up with our ProfitDJ sales script. This is literally the sales script from my entertainment company that's been responsible for generating over $1 million in bookings, okay? This is the same script that we train our staff on that I'm gonna give you for absolutely for free. I apologize, some of our customers are in here. You know that you paid for this script, right? But as participants being a part of MEX, I just wanted to provide you guys a free gift, okay? So just know, those of you that are looking at this as, oh, this is just what he gives away for free all the time. No, no, no. People actually pay for the script usually, okay? You can get instant access at ProfitDJ.com/MEX.